Hey, what's going on, guys? On today's episode, we are going to be talking about what to do when we lack fitness motivation.
All right, guys. So, the most common question I get asked all the time, we both get asked, is how do you stay motivated to do this stuff every single day?
We don't.
Yeah, that's the short answer.
We don't.
Yeah. I mean, if you rely on motivation, it's only going to get you, I wouldn't even say like 30% of the way there.
I don't even think that there's a percentage because motivation just completely depends each and every day. It is just something that is, very random. You can't ever, like you said, I mean, you just can't rely on it.
No, there's so many outside forces at work that determine whether you're motivated or not. You can't rely on that. If you can look at the biggest bodybuilders, the most athletic athletes, but they're not driving themselves by motivation every day. A lot of that is just plain willpower. But we can give you a set of goals and just tips for how to motivate yourself, even when you don't have that intrinsic motivation.
Yeah, and you'll notice too that even your favorite Instagram stars, your Facebook stars, YouTube, whatever. All of these athletes are seemingly superhumans. All have their own version of what makes them tick. It could be something as simple as when they were younger, they wanted to push harder to be better than other people. It could be simple as maybe they were a little bit overweight at some point and they lost all that weight or whatever it might be. Their motivation is coming from a whole bunch of different places. And the beauty of motivation is just that is it's not even just one thing or one song or one goal. It could be a whole combination of something could motivate you differently one day
Yeah.
than the next.
Yeah, I mean, there are, like we said, so many outside forces that can go wrong. You might wake up ready to go, ready to do your thing, go to the gym. You got your pump up jams playing, but then on your way to the gym, you get into traffic, and now you don't want to do it anymore, or you spill your coffee at work that day. Like little tiny things that set us over the edge, so we don't want to do it, and that happens to us. We're not immune. So the thing that keeps us going is not just one thing. It's not just, well, I'm motivated and I'm going to do it.
Yeah. And also distraction plays a huge part of that too. When you're only motivated by a certain thing, you're very easily distracted by an outside, force. Something as simple as, you get to the gym, you're getting changed, you're getting ready, and then you just get a text from someone that just says something and just completely distracts you. And now your motivation that you were relying maybe it was even on that person to be at the gym,
Yeah.
a gym partner or something. And now all of a sudden that gym partner is not going. Well, it makes it very difficult to then want to work out, want to do anything, that could be the same thing as even, going for a hike, going for a run, bike ride or whatever. If you're really relying on just one motivational piece,
Yeah.
it gets very easy to get rid of that motivation.
Yeah. But so, like, most of these tips that we're going to say are not just how to get you motivated. They're mostly about willpower. And I'll say from personal experience, getting to the gym every day or working out every day, that doesn't happen because of motivation. That doesn't happen because all good things happen that day and it just worked out. Or I love working out so much that's something that I like working out, but that's a whole different story about, what you're doing to work out, whether that's the problem that you don't have motivation. But for the most part, it's willpower.
Yeah.
And these tips are not just about how to motivate yourself, but how to, even when you're not motivated, to keep going and do it anyway.
Yeah, because like Motivation Monday is a huge thing. Like we love that. The fact that everyone's posting like, "Hey, you're gonna get to the gym, gotta get do this, do that, get this lawn, this lawn activity done or whatever." Well, tomorrow's Tuesday. There's no Motivation Tuesday,
Yeah.
Hashtag or anything. So now, as opposed to relying on all those images, those posts, those pictures that really get you up and running and doing everything, well, now it's Tuesday. Now it's the next day. You don't see as many of that stuff. So if you're only relying on that, good luck
Yeah.
getting through the rest of the week. It makes it really difficult.
Yeah. So, and that kind of brings us to our first tip, which is you can't just go in blindly with just banking on motivation, banking on, hashtag Motivation Monday. You need to have something that's personal to you that's motivating. So your first step should be to set goals, and that'll help create a constant stream of fitness motivation. And what we mean by that is not just having, well, my long-term goal is to, lose weight so that I can, fit into this bikini and go to the beach and not be distracted. But, we need to have short-term, very attainable goals too. But it is easier to start with kind of a long-term goal. So I know you have a long-term goal that you are currently working toward that's very, it's set in stone. It is a specific goal. What's your goal?
My goal is when we get married next year. So we're recording this in 2020. So in 2021, by the end of 2021, I want to be 195 pounds. Most people would look at that or hear that and be like, well, just eat a lot. The reality is for me, like that's my long-term goal. And obviously I take it day by day. I'm going to do it the right way, the healthy way and everything. But for me, I think that's something that I kind of want to touch on here too. The person that seemingly is struggling to lose weight or get to a certain point, it's as much as people, shouldn't say like, hey, you're not really doing it, or, you can't do that or whatever. It works the opposite way too. So, I'm not necessarily a hard gainer where, I'm incredibly, it just small or anything. And it's very difficult for me to put on muscle, but I will say it is difficult for me to put on the amount of weight that I would like to put on. Much like on the opposite end, it is very difficult for some people to lose the amount of weight that I want to put on, and vice versa. So my goal, and to answer your question a long way out, is I want to gain weight for our wedding. I want to be at a certain weight for our wedding, and reason being is I've never done that before. In fact, I've never even been over 190 pounds before. So I decided to, be 5 pounds more. And I think that having the goal of being that size on our wedding day, even if I never hit 195 pounds before, it's arguably the most photographed day of my life. And I want that goal to be reached by then. Now, I'm not going to be completely upset if I'm not 195 pounds then. But at the very bare minimum, I'm going to at least say like, hey, I tried and I'm going to do my best possible chance to get there.
Yeah, I mean, and that kind of brings into, so you have your long-term goal. You want to be able to hit 195 pounds. And that's great. Any kind of long-term goal, you can kind of set your long-term goal to whatever you want. As long as you're realistic about the time frame, set it way off into the future. And, maybe you're 300 pounds and you just want to be able to, get on the floor with your grandkids. That's your goal. And you don't see that happening anytime soon, but that's a long-term goal. That's the point of it. But we can't just leave off on a long-term goal because then it can seem so far in the future. We don't know how to get to it. So we need those baby steps. We need short-term goals along the way. And we do that too here. If you look behind us, we have a goal wall that we have little goals. And not all of them are related to fitness either.
Some are long-term, some are short-term,
Yeah.
some,
Some are not even related to fitness. Some are, we have finished the second third Harry Potter book. We have that on there. I've read all of them, but Matt hasn't. So that's my goal for him is I read to him because that's the only way he'll read it. But but whatever it takes, you got to have those short-term goals that are achievable, that are almost easy, because then you can just check them off the list, So yeah. I'm a big list maker myself.
I am not.
And, but, this is what motivates me. So I write down literally everything I have to do for the day, like everything. And then I can check them off. And I don't, I don't just say the big things that need to get done. I say the things that I guarantee that I'm going to do, wake up, drink some coffee,
Yeah.
do little tiny things like that are the things that help me to stay motivated, to stay focused, and know that I'm on the right track. So if you have a short-term goal, so maybe your long-term goal is that you want to fit into this specific swimsuit for the beach. I mean, this is a common one that we've both heard. But, be sensitive to what your real goal is. A lot of the times weight loss goals are not just about weight loss. They're about a lot of other factors. So maybe your real goal isn't just, I want to fit into the swimsuit. It's, I want to be able to play in the waves and have the energy to be out with everyone, and not be distracted by the way I look. That's a better goal.
And a quick side note about weight loss: if we could try to just let people know to eliminate weight loss or weight gain per se from our vocabulary, and focus more on the lines of body composition, where the reality is I could gain a lot of weight, for our wedding and be 195 pounds really by the end of the month. But is that the healthiest way? Probably not. And my body composition is going to change a lot in that too. It's the same exact thing with losing weight. There are people that obviously they struggle with that. There are disorders, there are challenges within that point that people struggle with weight loss. However, understanding body composition and making sure
and what your body can do
is more important per se than necessarily stepping on the scale each and every day.
And it's a lot easier. So like if your goal, especially if your goal is weight loss, and you have this specific weight loss goal that you want to hit, don't make those short-term goals 10 pounds this week, 10 pounds that week, something ridiculous, or even something that's reachable. Don't make it so much of a pound losing thing, because then you're going to reach that weight. And now what's your goal? It's always been weight loss related.
And here's the reality too, at least for me personally, my weight has fluctuated as much as 8 pounds in a single day. Yeah. Whether that be water weight, whether that be, I just ate a whole pizza or whatever it is, your weight can fluctuate that much daily. So weight loss can certainly be a long-term goal, but make sure that the composition is right and make sure you're doing it the right way to get to that long-term goal, which is what we were kind of saying with short-term goals.
It also kind of puts emphasis on the things that make us feel better. So maybe we did hit our weight loss goal for that month or whatever, and we get on the scale and we hit it. We're only really happy for that little moment that we're on the scale. We're so caught up in that number that we miss all the potential short-term goals that we could be setting where we actually feel good about ourselves. So, things like, I walked a mile today and I've never done that before and it felt great. Those kind of things where they're all still pushing you towards the same goal. But, and you have, smaller goals within there. Right now you're doing a workout program where it's a lot of recovery and then working out, kind of to failure each time. So
yeah, so little side note with that, it's called Occam's Protocol, OCCUMS, and what I like to do in my short-term goals revolve around being able to give the most sound advice to someone that is looking for a specific goal. And the way that I do that is actually going through it myself. So whether that's something, as seemingly as simple as, hey, like try the keto diet, try the vegetarian diet, the carnivore, or hey, try this workout, try working out this times a day, try stretching, try doing these things. I like taking months at a time and doing those things.
Yeah. So then, it's not just preaching it.
Yeah. So it's not just preaching it. This is, I do this, out of production. But this specific protocol has actually been really tough on me. I am enjoying the way that I feel. I'm enjoying the mass gains with it, but I love working out. And what this protocol is doing is shrinking the amount of time that I work out to the tune of only about a half hour total per week. So essentially seeing what the absolute minimum I can do to still achieve my goals. And correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe you guys can answer in the comments or whatever. I think that that's the goal of a lot of people, is to find the simplest way to get the best possible results. So why wouldn't I try to do the same thing?
Yeah. I mean, so, and that's what we mean with the short-term goals, where once it's done, it's checked off, and you've completed it. You know, it's not something that you're constantly working toward, but it is something that is going to make you feel better. It's going to make you feel better about yourself. And these don't have to just be fitness related too. Like I said, we have a goal that's just read Harry Potter. And setting non-physical goals is also really important. So this is just not just what you do in the gym, but your daily attitude, your sleep, your water intake. Setting goals for that, it just helps you to recognize how much you're progressing in like how you feel, and that's pretty much what fitness is. I mean, it's not really how much you can lift and how much, I mean, that's a portion of fitness, but the fitness that is really going to be most relevant to daily life is how much energy you have, how good you feel, you know, these kind of things that are side effects of fitness.
Yeah, and honestly, like on that same track, my old roommate he still is a bridge engineer, and I think that even talking to him, and maybe he can correct me if I'm wrong here, but the reality is the end goal is to build a bridge. That's, you know, he's a bridge
Probably
engineer.
right on that.
Yeah, probably right on that. But what he deals with on a daily basis isn't building the entire bridge. Is often very small points or things that need to get done in order for that bridge to happen. You know, obviously with any sort of building, you usually start surveying the ground. Yeah, it's all involving maybe, you know, building that skyscraper, building the bridge, or where I'm getting at is building the foundation of your body, can all be revolved around that. However, if your water intake isn't where it needs to be, and we don't take care of those things first, it makes it very difficult to then really monitor your body composition later. Just likewise, if you're not getting enough sleep and then you don't have enough energy, all of those things affect it, even though it might not seem like it's involved with that process.
Yeah, I mean, it's not only just affecting your short-term goals, but your short-term goals shouldn't be overshadowed by, you know, just physical things. And going back to the scale example, if you get on the scale and you didn't hit your goal, you know, you can be bogged down by that if you're not paying attention to the other things that did improve, that are, you know, more important. And anything numerical focused in fitness, Matt's fine with trying to hit his 195, but especially if you're new to fitness, my advice, stay away from anything regarding calories, macros, the scale, just because it's a very easy way to trip yourself up and get focused on the wrong things. And I've had, you know, multiple friends that have developed some disordered eating and weight loss and just working out things, just because they get so bogged down by the numbers. And even if you don't spiral into something like that, it's just not what you should be focusing on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and mainly, especially in those situations, tracking your mood daily is far more important than tracking any number on the scale. I don't particularly like journaling. I will attempt it and try to start it, but the reality is, I would say I'm always currently in like the best shape of my life. Now, the best shape of my life kind of evolves besides like what my goals are.
Mm-hmm.
But so like maybe physically looking, aesthetically looking, I was in the best shape of my life maybe 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
However, in terms of mobility, recovery, feeling my body, understanding, you know, what needs to be done, I'm in better shape now than what I was before.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great example, especially like, you know, I kind of sit around the same, you know, body weight, but I've definitely had different body composition based on what my goals were. So when I was doing gymnastics and coaching gymnastics, I had to do a lot of just shoulder strengthening things because I was spotting girls that were usually bigger than me. So I had to be able to support them. Shoulder issues are a huge, huge issue in the coaching community. So I didn't want to deal with that. I wanted to prevent that. But now I'm not doing gymnastics as, at all, just handstands. So I've focused more to handstands and aerial arts. So it's a lot more upper body than I've ever done. And the way that my body is shaped now is it kind of, it shows that as well. But the number on the scale has also changed. It's gone from, when I graduated college, I really wanted to put on muscle mass, and I really wanted to just kind of bulk up. And so my long-term and short-term goals were all about, being able to lift more and just looking stronger. And now that's not my goal, but I'm just as strong as I was then. So like I'm saying, don't get bogged down by the numbers on the scale, because I am just as strong as I was when I had 20 extra pounds of muscle on me as I am now.
Yeah, and I guess a point in that too is, especially for me, I view different lifts in the gym as different skills. So obviously, if I am squatting every day and benching every day is what I was doing back, when I was in the best aesthetic, I put that in quotes, aesthetic shape 5 years ago. Yes, I could bench and squat more than what I can now. However, the strength that you understanding that it's a skill.
Yeah.
If I squat more now and get back into the shape, I'm just as strong as what I was before.
When I was lifting heavy in the gym, I could not climb the silk all the way to the top with no feet. Not a chance. But now I can, and I weigh less. But that's just what my goal is. So don't get bogged down. But you had mentioned, just journaling and keeping track of things. And that reminded me about our second point, is not just set goals, but because you need to have some motivation outside of just what you have on paper. You need to make fitness a routine. So making it something that you have to do every day, and it's non-negotiable, not something that you have to do it. Oh my gosh.
Well, let's even start back. It's something that you want to do a couple times a week.
Yeah.
If you just make it that where it's not even necessarily, non-negotiable that you go to the gym for 3 hours every single day. And that's going to be, your routine, how to get out and everything.
Well, that's a lot of what happens, January 1st. Everybody they want to go to the gym every single day.
When's your birthday?
Yeah, my birthday is January 17th, and that is National Give Up Your Resolutions Day. The 17th. Okay, that's not far in.
17 days.
So, and what a birthday, right? But but in general,
well, that even goes back. Let me touch on that quick. That even goes back to those different points of motivation. Is if you're motivated by going January 1st, and that's the only thing that happens, is then January.
Once.
Yeah, that only happens once a year. It's the same people that say next Monday or next the next week or whatever it is. It's like you can start anything at any time.
You just got to do it. I mean, you cannot wait until you are inspired or in the mood to do it, because that might not happen. I mean, sometimes I am like, it's the middle of the day and I'm like, hey, I'm going to go to the garage and I'm going to go swing on my Lyra, and that's what I'm going to do. And sometimes I'm like, well, like today, I just had a big leg workout and I don't really feel like doing it. So, I'm going to put it off for today. But I know that, if I do it at least 3 or 4 times a week, I'm good. It doesn't need to be every day. It just needs to be routine. It just needs to be something that I can anticipate is going to happen.
Yeah. And that's something too, especially with my routine that I'm doing right now. I'm essentially working out every 4, maybe even 5 days. So really one, maybe 2 workouts a week. What I found is I'm retaining that strength. I'm actually getting stronger. But it's allowed me to, my daily routine now focuses more on the recovery aspect of things and being able to then perform that 1, maybe 2 times per week. So my routine.
And those workouts are to fatigue, which is important to note, because they're
not easy.
Yeah,
they're not easy. It is just 1 set, but it is to failure. And when I say to failure, I mean that you like. chicken legs, like you cannot walk. But so I wouldn't necessarily recommend that for getting started with a fitness routine. But understand my fitness routine and what motivates me is everything throughout the course of the week that I do daily. Just keeping my my caloric intake up, keeping my water count up, keeping these things, keep maintaining mobility, flexibility. That my goal is once, maybe twice a week, I can perform that workout flawlessly. So, rather than saying, "Hey, I want to get to the gym for 3 hours a day," break that down. How am I going to get to the gym in the first place? What needs to
Is it
happen
going to
first?
happen, straight from work? Okay, then I need to pack up my gym clothes. Like, if I forget my gym clothes one of those days, does this gym not happen? Can I still go home and get it? Like, these are the kind of things where you just think ahead, just an extra step, so that you don't have to think about it. Because as soon as you think, well, I forgot my gym clothes, so I'd have to go home, and I don't really know if I still want to do. As soon as you start doing that, you're going to talk yourself out of it. So the first thing to do is just get moving before you can even think about it.
Mm-hmm.
So a personal example, in college, I just wanted to, just a random goal, no real reason. I just wanted to be able to do 100 push-ups in a row. Just wanted to do it. So what I did was every single morning I got out of bed, literally rolled out of bed onto the floor, did push-ups. That's what I did. I did sets of push-ups and V-ups alternating, and I did it. I did 50 of each, and in sets of 10. But that's what I did. I didn't want to do it. I was barely awake, but that was the point, because my brain couldn't say, no, I don't want to. My brain wasn't awake enough to say, no, I don't want to until, set 30. So I was like, well, at this point, I might as well just do it.
Right. Yeah. So that's why if I had any recommendation, and now I've worked out in the mornings, I've worked out in the afternoons, I've worked out in the evenings, and what I found for myself is that I got to get moving. Kind of what Sarah touched on just now with doing push-ups, doing a full workout. I like getting my stuff done really just before noon. That's when I feel like I have the most energy. I do everything. Now scientifically, that can completely change based off of your body. Some people actually say between 4 and 6 p.m. is ideal for everyone. I disagree. I think that you should find something that keeps you
preference.
and keeps you consistent. That's the biggest thing. Like, I joke with people where the typical thing to do if you want to get in shape is run. Well, I cannot stand running. So if my goal is to move a certain way or get in shape and I have to run to do it, I'm going to do it for about maybe a mile and I'm done. I'm not doing it anymore. So the ongoing joke is, hey, I'm going to get in shape by getting on the treadmill or riding the bike or anything. And I just ask, well, do you like doing that? Oftentimes the answer is no.
Yeah.
Well, then don't do it.
Yeah.
Find something that keeps you consistent, that you enjoy doing, and you get stuff out of every day.
Once you have that goal and it's related to something that you actually do in real life, you're going to want to do it. I practice handstands every day because it's something that directly applies to what I do in aerial arts. I like doing it. I do a lot of shoulder workouts because I can see the direct correlation between, my grip strength, everything is improved because of this. So, and that's kind of why we link our workouts to real life tasks, so you can actually see, I'm getting better at this specific thing. But so, first thing, just get to the gym, get started, get going, don't think about it. As soon as you give yourself some time to make an excuse, your body's going to come up with one,
Yeah. And it doesn't even need to be at the gym. If your goal is, hey, I want to run a marathon, then get out and start running before you can think about, not doing it.
Well, and that's the other thing with, like Matt was saying, I have different goals that relate to not just, in the gym, but just getting my workouts in at a certain time. So, Matt likes to work out in the mornings. That's his thing. We like to work out together. It doesn't always work because I like working out in evenings. Now, if that contradicts what I said, was get up, get moving before you can think about it, I still do that. I don't work out in the mornings because I feel like I have to have breakfast in me. I need to, get settled in the day. So what I do instead is I just kind of roll out of bed, get on the floor, and I stretch. And that's it. And that's a really good way to just get yourself moving without it being too strenuous. But it's also a good way to kickstart you because an object in motion is likely to stay in motion. So even if you're just stretching, now the rest of the day you're going to feel more mobile, you're going to feel more active. So when the time does roll around to work out, you're ready to go.
Yeah, and for me, my routine is actually, not necessarily fitness related. I do my best work as soon as as soon as I get up. So oftentimes trying to get to my laptop before I start the day, knowing that my motivation or my routine lies at some time in the morning. So my excuse is not officially made until it's past noon.
Yeah.
So as long as I can get up, I enjoy getting some work done before I work out. Sometimes, but once again, like that's that motivation thing. It's if the routine is set and the routine, is something I can do every single morning, then Sarah likes stretching right away. I like trying to check emails, try to work a little bit, and then move on from there and then get into my next thing. But I also don't get bogged down in my work as much as Sarah might.
Yeah.
When she gets started at work, it's game set match. She is a workhorse and she keeps going forever. For me, I'm easily distracted. So it's important for me and trust me, I'm coming back here. It's important for me to at least get started. And I think that that's something that it could relate to a lot of people too. Getting out of bed and getting started, the thing that you're probably going to make an excuse for in the future.
Well, and just finding someone to hold you accountable, because we are obviously very different. We work out very differently. We have different goals, but having someone that, even if you're not on the same page, and maybe you do go to the gym, 3 times a week, and somebody else is on the same schedule, but you don't really even know that person, you just kind of acknowledge them, and then that's a good way to help yourself stay accountable because you're on the same routine. Now, when you break that routine and you don't show up to the gym for a few weeks, that person might come up to you and say, "Hey, I didn't see you around."
You're talking about people that you don't even really know.
Yeah.
It's just people at the gym.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That happens.
That's like my favorite part about going to the gym. It's the biggest part I'm missing now that we're in, the quarantine and COVID. I enjoy going and just not even necessarily interacting, but at least seeing people that
You're
are in
on the
there.
same page.
Yeah.
Yeah. I used to do that in college. I was training for gymnastics, and my friend she just wanted to had some weight loss goals, and she didn't really know where to start. And I said, okay, well, we're doing different things, but I'm happy to help. So we went to the gym every single morning, worked out totally different things. I was in one side of the gym, she was on the other. But we were both there at the same time, and we both walked to the gym on campus every single day. And that was what our routine was. So it's simple as that. Having someone, Matt says he's going to do his workout today. So I'll ask him a simple thing. Did you do your workout today? And then I'm not telling him to do it, but it's going to put it in his mind that, yeah, I did say that I'm going to do that.
And in my past too, I've also made time sacrifices in order so I could work out with someone. Now this isn't just someone that I see at the gym. This is someone that I actually know that the only time that they're able to go to the gym and gain motivation, I'm thinking back to Tyler, back when I was, working out 5 days a week and doing everything. The only time he was able to go to the gym was 5 o'clock in the morning. Well, when I'm used to going at 7 o'clock in the morning, and kind of on my own time, that was tough, but I knew the reality is I enjoyed the camaraderie and working out with someone more than I necessarily enjoyed the time. So when 4 o'clock, 4:30 in the morning rolled around, I'm not saying it wasn't a struggle. It was definitely tough and challenging to get up. But the reality is the reason why he was there is the same reason why I was there. And if we could both go in there together, you could almost complain about, the sun not being up, and you could be like, oh man, I'm tired, I didn't get to sleep. You can do all that, but the reality is you're there. And that was the biggest thing. And honestly, those were some of the gym sessions that I enjoyed the most and I got the most out of is because that other person was there with me.
Yeah. And speaking of like quarantine times and just, times in general, you can't always rely on someone. There's a fine line there. So you can use someone as extra motivation, but if that person is your motivation, and if they don't go to the gym, you're not going to the gym, and this happens a lot when couples try to get fit together, and it's often why
We tried that.
yeah, it's often but it's often why when like couples the joke is that you gain weight when you become a couple, and it's because you got these bad habits to kind of line up, and then no one's telling you no, and the other person's saying, well, I kind of want to have a bowl of ice cream too. So.
And I'll even defend.
We do that.
Yeah, I'll even defend that too. When I was going at 5:00 in the morning, that I enjoy going to the gym, and I was going to be there regardless. But if it meant going with somebody else, and if I was their motivation, they're my motivation, then that worked. Mm-hmm. But even when, schedules changed and I didn't need to be there at 5:00 in the morning, I was still going to go to the gym because I enjoyed going there. The time of the day changes, just like, a couple can change, and you could be in and out of a relationship, or all these types of things. But if you can maintain that consistency, it shouldn't matter what time. And this is the motivation part that we're going through. I wasn't motivated by any specific time or person. I was motivated to get to the gym, and any way possible I was going to try to get to the gym. So I changed my time and my schedule up to maintain that.
Yeah. And if you can't rope in, it's always easier to do it with somebody else, especially somebody else that is on your level of fitness. A lot of the times in this, it was very frustrating to me because I, want to help people. I've been a coach and, kids volunteer for my entire life. That's what I do. So people would often come up to me and say, oh, can you help me out at the gym? Let's go together. And I say, yeah, for sure. Let's do it. The time would roll around for us to go to the gym. And they say, well, I don't know if I can, do your workout because we're not on the same level, whatever. And it's like, if somebody's going to the gym, they're going to try to, they should. They're going to try to work with you because I am happy to go to the gym with someone else. And most people, well, some people are. I know some people are lone wolves. They want to go. But for the most part, if they're sharing that with you, don't be afraid to just ask. They'll help you out. And even if it's not a person that's your motivator, even if you can't rope your significant other into working out with you, you can still say, hey, it's really helpful if you just ask me, did you work out today? On these, I'm trying to work out 2 times a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays. Ask me on those days, hey, did you work out today? That's it. That's all I need. And just kind of having that, I have on my phone because, like Matt said, I get so wrapped up in my work that I forget what time it is.
She has like 5 alarms per day.
I do have a lot of alarms that tell me, hey, it's time for handstands. Hey, it's time to go eat. Hey, time to go to bed. Yes, I have one for bed that people make fun of me for. But
she's also not motivated.
I get 9.5 hours every night. So who's the real winner here?
Yeah, she's also not motivated by that ding going off.
It's an extra reminder.
It's an extra reminder to get it done because Sarah is very consistent when she gets there. But the reality is that if there's no checkup, if there's no reminder, I can't necessarily be that every time. She's just gonna keep doing whatever she's doing.
If you got a smart device, any kind, just put a reminder on, have Siri say, hey, go to the gym. Something that's just, you can ignore it. That's fine. Nothing's forcing you to do it. It's just a little reminder to say, hey, you got to do this, But.
Well, why? I'll just go on to the third point.
Okay.
Oftentimes we're either motivated or not motivated, or maybe we're consistent or not. But why is there a reason why something just can't happen? Why do we lack fitness motivation? And these are the simple things that we try to have in check every day. And oftentimes we can go back and we can figure out I wasn't feeling the workout today because I only got 2 hours of sleep.
Yeah. I mean, that is kind of what boils down to, especially if you don't know where it's coming from. A lot of these things that we've already said, they're about willpower. They're about pushing through it anyway, even when you don't want to, because you have these goals. But it still can be frustrating that like I do this every day, like it's all willpower, but like I never feel motivated, and that shouldn't happen either. It shouldn't, motivation should be an off and on thing. You shouldn't feel constantly motivated. I mean, that's awesome if you do, but it doesn't usually happen. But you shouldn't feel never motivated. And there are some things that can hold you back, and sleep is a big one. If you are not getting enough sleep, you're not going to feel motivated for anything, pretty much, unless you're in that state of you've had, 2 hours of sleep in the last week and you're just feeling a little crazy. You're not going to get motivated for anything.
Yeah. So for this is from me personally. People think I'm insane. People think I'm crazy for doing this, but my nutrition, my water intake, and my sleep are essentially the same exact thing every single day. And I do that for my nutrition first and foremost, not necessarily to be able to track. I enjoy basic things. She makes fun of me not seasoning stuff all the time.
You could probably eat an omelet and salt and pepper on his chicken eggs every day.
And I would be fine with that. But where
consistency is key, but maybe not that consistent.
Yeah. So the reason why I like doing that is knowing that, one, you could do it for, health effects. If I start to feel sick or, I start to feel a stomach bug or anything like that, I can then go and point at the outlier. So if I'm eating sweet potatoes, eggs, and everything every day, and now all of a sudden,
this is the one thing that changed.
Yeah, this is the one thing that changed, and I can do that. But it also goes even further with my water intake too, is because now, if everything is consistent with water, with hydration, with eating, and then with sleeping is one thing that I struggle with. I don't always get the best night's sleep and trying to figure stuff out. Well, now I can actually go back and I can track, well, why didn't I get that amount of sleep? Mm-hmm. And the one thing that I found was I was eating a little bit too close to bedtime. So I wasn't able to get to sleep on time and everything. So because I was consistent with everything else, now the only thing that I changed was just now I eat a little bit earlier. Yeah. And then I was able to sleep throughout the course of the night.
And if you are not consistent with everything, which most people are not, right off the bat, then start with one thing at a time. Really focus on, you can try to improve for the most part on, hydration and sleep and everything and your nutrition. But, really focusing first on hydration. Like I am not going to really care. I'm going to keep my diet pretty much the same. Maybe I'll cut out some sugar, but I'm going to focus on drinking my water. And you should feel a pretty immediate change. And so once that happens, now you got that under wraps. Like you can drink 8, cups of water every single day, no big deal. And you move on, and now you're starting to focus on sleeping every day. Now, once you have those two things under control, that's when you can dive into nutrition and making sure that that's playing a role in the lack of motivation.
Yeah, so like there's also a chick, and I'll just kind of go on a tangent. I had a friend that was actually concerned with hair loss, and he started taking some medications and stuff like that. Talked to his doctor and everything. Well, doctors, and this isn't to give a doctor a bad rep, but a doctor is going to take everything at face value. Typically, they're not looking too far deep into complete patterns or routines. They're looking, okay, well, if you have hair loss, this is what you get.
Want to fix it.
This is what you get. But I started asking my buddy. I was like, well, what kind of stuff? What are you doing? And he's like, well, I work on 9 to 5. Then I'm doing this class in the evening, and then I also mow properties, and I'm doing all this kind of stuff. I was like, okay, so you're busy. He's like, yeah. I was like, well, when's the last time you were able to get to the gym and get out some of that energy? He's like, well, I just don't have enough energy to do that. And it was sort of like this stacking one thing on top of each other, where it was like, hey man, you're stressed out of your mind. Mm-hmm. You're not able to develop the strong mind, strong body, because you are so busy mm-hmm. with doing everything, not to mention eating fast foods mm-hmm. and not getting an opportunity to actually make things. So yeah, there are certain medications that would certainly be able to help with hair loss. But if we don't hit the root of the problem, and this is kind of what Sarah was saying, what we're saying, if he's not hydrated, if he's not doing, you're just covering it up, and it's inevitable that it's going to happen in the future. Now, some people are genetically, they are affected by hair loss. I hope that I keep my hair one day. But if there are things where, like, this is even the point of our business, right? So if there are things that you can prevent, something like back pain, Sure, you could take pain medications, you could take muscle relaxers, you could go to a chiropractor. But if we're not hitting the root of those causes and making them a routine and making them consistent, it gets really hard to do anything else. And likewise, the point of our whole conversation today is motivation. If we need to just take Advil or we need to take something to mask the pain to be able to then have enough motivation to go do something,
We should be addressing the pain.
we should be addressing the pain. And as soon as you have a day that is more painful than the next, well, you're sure as heck not going to go do something that you think you want to do.
Yeah. I mean, just us as humans, we love excuses. We can come up with excuses for anything at any time, even for stuff we like. But but having these things in check is a really good way to start to eliminate those as the source of the problem. So, hydration, it's actually pretty interesting that people who were not ideally hydrated and then were told to, run on the treadmill, they reported reduced endurance, increased fatigue, reduced motivation, and increased perceived effort. So you are literally making it harder on yourself if you are not hydrating. It feels harder than it is just because you're not hydrated. So that's a major thing to look at when you're just not feeling motivated. You just might not be hydrated. It might be easy as that.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing, which, our society kind of says, well, sleep is for the weak. We don't really need sleep. What's been really interesting for me, especially with the improvement of sleep apps and just
the tracking aspect of it. Yeah.
It is tracking not only like when I've slept and when I wake up or have my sleep disturbed, but my heart rate dip and, all these kinds of things that are very trackable things. And then in the morning, it's a very subjective opinion, like how well rested do you feel? So I, say like very well rested, kind of fatigued, or very fatigued. And those are my options. And I do that every day and it tracks it. And it takes the subjective answers with the actual data that they found from my sleep and say, hey, we noticed that you report feeling more energetic when you get 9.5 hours of sleep, burn this amount of calories per day, and, don't wake up in the middle of the night this many times. And so that's very, it's a lot to have. But finding that amount, I didn't know that I needed 9.5 hours of sleep to function. That feels like a lot. But now that I've paid attention to it and I notice, hey, when I have that amount of sleep, I feel a lot better all day. And that's true. People my age can be from 8 to 10 hours of sleep. So you might be aiming for 8 and thinking, well, I'm okay with 7.5, but really you need 9.5. That might be why you're tired all day and not feeling motivated.
Yeah. And it is amazing what the human body can do at night too, and just in terms of a recovery standpoint, losing weight, gaining weight, doing whatever it is. That's why we didn't say anything about tracking weight. It's tracking some of the other things that you can actually control. Mm-hmm. Because if you can't track how much water you're drinking, or you're not quite sure how much sleep you're getting and everything, well, then the scale might fluctuate a lot and you're going to be a lot more frustrated. Yeah. The scale is something that this sleep is, in terms of how much you get, is objective. Subjective on how you feel. The scale, this is the same exact thing, and I don't think people understand this point enough. Stepping on the scale, sure, the number that it sees is objective, but the way that you feel when you step on that scale is completely subjective. I could feel my best if I'm 200 pounds, but if the scale is showing, 230, it could completely skew how I actually feel about that number. Mm-hmm. But when you're consistent, like what Sarah's saying,
if I got 8 hours and it said, congrats, you got 8 hours. Great. Why do I still feel tired? It doesn't matter what that number is. It matters how it feels. So if you're feeling great when you only get, I think probably Matt only needs like 6 hours of sleep and he feels great. But not everybody's like that. Everybody has a different, we say 8 glasses of water per day. You might need more, you might need less, but find out what works with your body and pay attention to those little things. They could have a much bigger effect on your motivation than you are paying attention to. So, and that kind of brings us over to, well, we said a little bit about our fourth one, to stretch in the morning, as our tip, just getting up and moving. It's a lot easier to kickstart your motivation and your brain when you give it time to wake up and you don't just go to your coffee, get in your car, go to work, ready to go, because you're not. Your brain is still half asleep while you're doing all this stuff, and it's not ready to physically move. It's just ready to do its routine.
Well, the reality is too, and this is something that I need to work on as well. Stretching, that is something that every single person can do. Maybe not necessarily every single person at this present moment can go and run a 5K or lift 300 pounds or do whatever that is. But stretching and getting a morning routine or evening routine, whatever it may be, if you can control your flexibility and your mobility and really focus on how you're feeling, how you're moving, everything else down the line is going to be that much easier. So now when you are ready to run, you're not in pain. When you are ready to play with your kids or get on the ground and play with your grandkids or, go, play that flag football game, by stretching every single day, you're only going to improve. It's not something where, lifting, if you're lifting every single day but doing it the wrong way, it can actually be detrimental. Stretching is one of those things where, sure, there are outliers where if you're stretching and not lifting, you can push it too far, but
it's hard
just
to do.
getting up and it's natural.
Yeah.
Most people, yawn
you get
and
up,
you stretch
you
your arms.
lift your arms up and you go, but just take that little tiny thing and turn it into a 10-minute stretching routine.
Even 5.
Even 5.
Let's start at 5.
Just move.
10, 20, yeah.
I think a lot of the thing that pushes people away from stretching is it's, personally, I grew up doing gymnastics. Stretching was, you had to do it. But I wasn't taught that really in gym. We maybe stretched sometimes. We kind of had a basic stretching routine. But I talked to a lot of people that they've never stretched in their life, maybe since high school. And now they wonder why they have back pain and all that kind of stuff. Because the stretching that we were taught in school, at least me, was not to prevent anything or to fix anything. It was just, this is what we got to do while the gym teacher takes attendance. That kind of thing where it's just something to do. If you actually recognize, hey, my hamstrings hurt. Now when I sit down on the ground, reach for my toes, hold that for 30 seconds. It doesn't hurt anymore. After a week or so of consistent stretching, you're going to feel a major difference. So and something that keeps people away from that is they're not used to the same kind of discomfort and stretching as they are like lifting a weight. Everybody kind of knows what it feels like to lift a weight because, even if you're not in the gym lifting heavy weights, you've lifted a box or a heavy bag or you've brought the groceries in and you're used to that kind of muscle fatigue and you know how to deal with it. But the discomfort that comes from stretching your muscles, people are like, "Ooh, I don't like that." So they give up after about 10 seconds. But once you get into it, once you learn to relax during it, it is so helpful for your body and just eliminating pain.
Yeah, we have a whole podcast on how to get flexible fast, different things that you can go through, specifically stretching for sciatica, which is low back pain. All of those things we cover in different topics. Definitely check them out. But our last thing that we wanted to talk about, because we kind of push for time here, but is this is one thing that kind of it certainly gets overlooked. Much like, and Sarah will relate this to, in her article, to a relationship. If it's not working, or if you just can't get motivated, if you just can't seem to want to do it, just don't do it.
Yeah.
There gets to be a point. I have essentially given up running. Now, if someone said, "Hey, Matt, let's sign up for a 5K for charity or something like that," sure, I can train for a couple weeks and be ready to do that. But I'm not gonna run. I don't like running. I'll sprint hills, I'll do sprints, I'll do all kind of stuff. But long distance running, there's no motivation for me to do it. I'm not even gonna try.
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna do it.
Just don't push it if it's not there. But the same thing, and like a relationship, you wouldn't push a relationship to the point of, commitment and everything if it's not working out. It's just going to end up with a crash and burn for both of you. It's the same thing with fitness. So if you end up and you realize, okay, this relationship is not working, you don't normally give up on relationships in general, right? You give up on that one. That one's not for you. Check it off the list. So now you have other things to focus on. This opens up more opportunity, right? So it's the same thing with fitness. So a lot of the times people try, well, I want to try running and I hate it. Like I dread getting up every morning. I feel exhausted when I get to work and I hate it the whole time. Or I tried yoga and I just didn't really like it. I didn't like how slow it was. It's just not for me. Fine. Then that means you are one step closer to figuring out what is for you.
Or even I'll go one step further. Watch this. The distance you have to drive to a gym.
Yeah, that can cause
Certainly outweigh. You don't hate going to the gym.
Yeah.
You hate the fact that it takes you 35 minutes to
your
get
way.
there, and then it's in traffic, and then by the time that you actually get there, you don't have anything. So that could even play a fact where maybe instead of going to the gym, maybe you work out from home. Maybe you invest in some home gym equipment. Maybe that works out better.
A little bit of movement, and it's the same thing like we say for nutrition wise. We get frozen bags of broccoli because if we got fresh broccoli, it'd go bad. So what's better? People are saying, well, how can you eat frozen broccoli? Isn't it better to have it fresh? Well, for better or for worse, isn't it better to eat some broccoli than no broccoli at all?
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
Moving a little bit and just doing a home workout is so much better than, driving to the gym, one day a week, hating it and never doing it again.
I'm going to be flat out honest. Like, I do not like working out at home. We are fortunate enough that we have like a home gym and we are able to, to do that. But the thing that I focus on whenever I was going to the gym and actually driving there and everything was the flexibility and the mobility part of things. Because that was the one thing is like, if I'm at the gym for the equipment. I'm at the gym because I don't have those things at home. So why would I go in just to do abs? Why would I go in just to do, basic stretching or mobility? All those things I could do at home where it wasn't even the motivation to get to the gym to want to do it. It was just that there's so much else that I could be doing that I just don't want to do something that I could do at home.
Yeah.
So it doesn't even necessarily have to be the distance or what the modality is. It could literally just be what you're doing.
It's just not for you.
Yeah.
And it doesn't, like I said, your motivation does not have to come just from the gym. There are so many outside factors that tell us we don't want to go. And there are so many things that can tell us we do want to go. So, maybe if we go to a book club, we have book club every week. And after we go to book club, we come out of book club and we feel great. We feel like you can do anything. We just talked with our friends all day. And now we just feel on top of the world. You're much more likely to go to the gym after that than you would something else. And that's book club. What does that have to do with anything, finding something that calms your nerves. Maybe you like doing adult coloring and that's something that just calms your nerves and now you don't feel all this stress and anxiety. You took 10 minutes to color a picture and now you're like, all right, I feel like it's not so overwhelming to go to the gym. Something that is so small, but something that gives you a little bit of me time, a little bit of something that will push you in the right direction.
And just likewise, just right on the opposite note too, if you find yourself even looking at Instagram or other people or checking yourself in the mirror, seeing somebody else that's working out, and then all of a sudden you don't feel that great, check your location. Check what you're doing before that too. It could work the exact opposite way as well, where maybe go to book club or do something that's going to make you feel better, but also stop doing the things that don't make you feel that great either. Now, obviously, if you don't feel great going to work, that's needed.
Probably still do that.
But go to work. But before you start feeling bad that you're at work, go to the gym before work. Those are all those different things. Or maybe get in a good workout or a good hiking session that makes you feel really good on the weekends. So then work is a little bit more bearable.
Yeah. Just try all these different factors, see what fits, and don't be afraid to take a step back and look at the big picture again. So maybe once you've started to get in a routine, you're going to the gym, you've got your nutrition and hydration, you're feeling okay, but it's still not quite working, take a step back. Say maybe your long-term goal has changed during that time. Maybe, it's not that you want to do 100 push-ups anymore. It's just that you want to be able to do a squat at a certain weight or whatever. Your goal has changed because you've found out I like this better than that. So adjust it. It can always be adjusted. And just a little bit of movement, a little bit of like setting your goals too high, like we said for, January 1st, I'm going to go to the gym every single day. You're going to burn out quick. Set your
Especially
goals.
if you've never been to the gym before.
Yes, and especially because a lot of people try to do it all at once. Just do one little thing, okay? I'm just gonna work on hydration, and then I'll worry about going to the gym. Fine, you are on the right path. Doesn't matter, and that's why you shouldn't judge anybody about wherever they're at, because you don't know if they're just on the hydration level of things. Everybody's working to work on their bodies one way or another, and it might be an obvious thing, or it might be just something very small. But set your goals small too. Like maybe I'm just gonna work out 15 minutes a day every day, or maybe I'm gonna work 15 minutes a day 2 days a week. That's something that's very attainable. It's not something that's overwhelming, but you can still see how it's working to progress your long-term goal.
Yeah, exactly. Just make sure that you find something that you, I would say, at least can think about every day. Let's do it that way. Something that you could think about every day that doesn't frustrate you or get you upset.
Yeah.
If going to the gym is a struggle, is a pain every single day, you might want to think about switching that.
Just give yourself some credit. If you're at the gym, and it happens to me, I go to well, not now, I can't go to the gym, but you go to the gym and you get there and you have this big plan in your head that you're gonna do this crazy workout, and then you get there and you're like, I'm not feeling it. I'm just not feeling it. And so the workout ends up being mostly abs in a stretch session. So I don't leave the gym feeling bad about myself. You got to tell yourself, hey, I'm here and I'm doing it. So that's step one. Give yourself some credit.
Yeah, and that's the underlying point of anything. One workout, you're not in shape. Just like a million workouts, you're not necessarily in shape compared to someone that is always stretching or doing something else. So it's kind of like drinking and hydrating for one day it makes you feel better one day, but that's got to be that consistent thing. So even if you're going to the gym and you're only stretching or you're only doing something, getting there and being consistent, that's the most important. That's the most important thing.
Bottom line, get there, get it started, do it anyway, no matter how it looks like, even if it's not something, the way that you thought it would turn out. To get in there and doing something is how you can get motivated long term, and how you can stay motivated without having that come from just within or from relying on outside factors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like we said at the beginning, we enjoy progress. We enjoy movement forward. So if that means, and we said that you don't need to track weight numbers, we don't need to track those different things, but it can also be subjective when it comes to tracking. You can write in a journal. You can write down how you're feeling that day. And if you go back a month, a year, 10 years later, and you're looking at some of these entries and now you are feeling better, well, now you've achieved your long-term goal.
Give yourself a pat on the back.
Yeah.
That's, who cares about numerical things? Who cares about, these long-term goals if we are not making progress in the interim, if we're not feeling good in the middle? It doesn't matter. So just to recap, what we should do when we lack fitness motivation: set goals, both long-term and short-term and non-physical. Don't forget about those ones. 2, make fitness a routine so you don't have to rely just on fitness motivation.
Make it a part of your life.
It's something that you just do.
Mm-hmm.
3, check to see if there's another reason why you're lacking fitness motivation. It could just be that you're not getting enough sleep. Simple as that. Take a look back outside of the gym and see why you're not motivated. And then stretch in the morning to jumpstart your fitness motivation.
Or just stretch when you're not motivated.
Yes. That's what I do. I mean, I'm like, oh, this is my workout time, but I'm just not feeling it. Well, I'm going to move. Mm-hmm. That's something. And for the most part, most important, don't force it if there's really no fitness motivation. That doesn't mean give up entirely on, trying to be a better person. That just means this way of doing it, not for me. Okay? Take a step back, figure out what you do enjoy and what you do feel it has made a positive impact on your life, and just try different things out. You don't have to figure it out what you're supposed to do long term forever the first time that you go to the gym.
Yeah. Yeah, guys. So if you just listen to this, if you're feeling a little bit motivated, take it at face value. Take it the fact that, maybe this one thing motivated you, get you to that one point. But think about, everything that we covered in the podcast, and think about other things where you're gaining motivation, and try to draw that internally and figure out where you can go from there. Figure out something simple, something tangible, something that you can achieve daily, and get after it.
Yeah, give yourself some credit. You are doing the thing.
You're doing the thing. So on that, thanks so much, guys, for tuning in. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We have this posted on YouTube, Spotify, also on our website as well. We'd certainly appreciate the support. Shoot us an email if you do have any other questions or anything like that. But thanks for tuning in again, and we'll catch you guys in the next one.